and you are watching the third episode of What's in My CSA Box, where each week we uncover what beautiful, delicious seasonal produce lies in this beautiful box right here. And we talk about the nutrition benefits of each type of produce, how you can utilize them in the kitchen, and I share with you some of my favorite recipes that utilize this produce, all of which you can find on the blog. So let's see what's inside. First up, we've got corn. One of the ways that you know it's the end of the summer is when you start getting a ton of corn and tomatoes in your CSA. So corn kind of gets a little bit of a bad rap. People think, oh, it's high in starch, it's high in sugar, there's no nutritional value, ugh. But it's actually really, really good for you. It's loaded with antioxidants, zeaxanthin and lutein, and it's packed with vitamins. It has B vitamins and vitamin C, and it's a good source of insoluble fiber, which actually helps to promote good bacteria in our gut. And those antioxidants that corn contains, they're good for your eye health too. All right, so how to use corn? Well, you can make good old-fashioned corn on the cob. I love doing that. You just boil the corn in boiling water, salted water for, depending on how fresh the corn is, anywhere from 6 to 8 minutes. And it's perfect. Or you can put it on the grill if you have a grill at home. One of my favorite ways to eat corn is doing like a version of a street corn, either a Mexican street corn with some cojita cheese, or an Indian street corn that I make with curry powder and Greek yogurt. Or doing a corn salad where you can combine tomatoes and corn and make a nice, bright, colorful salad. Or you can make corn chowder. I have a beautiful recipe for chipotle corn chowder that's hearty and satisfying with potatoes, but it has a little bit of heat from that chipotle. Next up, we've got lettuce. Actually, 2 heads of lettuce this week. We talked about lettuce back on the first episode of What's in My CSA Box. So we're not going to cover vegetables we've covered in previous weeks. So if you missed the first episode, go on back and watch it and find out why lettuce is so great for you. And next up, we've got a watermelon! Woo! It's not that often that we get fruit in the CSA. We did get some raspberries earlier this summer rather, and I just get so psyched when we get fruit in the CSA. So watermelon is an awesome summer fruit. It's packed with vitamin C, vitamins A, and it's got lots of great antioxidants. In fact, did you know that watermelons contain 2 times the amount of lycopene than tomatoes do? Watermelon is such a refreshing fruit for the summertime. It's got a lot of water content, so it keeps you hydrated. I know everyone loves just cutting up watermelon fresh and eating it as is. There's also a lot of different ways you can use it in the kitchen too. I love watermelon gazpacho. I had a delicious watermelon gazpacho recently that was made with a lime crema and had some cilantro in it. It was beautiful. You can also make watermelon slushies or granitas or ice cream or popsicles. Lots of summer frozen treats that you can do with watermelon. Watermelon's great for cocktails too, in case you want to indulge. What else? Salsa. You can make watermelon salsa. It's also really delicious paired with feta. You kind of get that sweet and salty combination, so I love doing watermelon and feta on top of a green salad. It also works really well in juices and smoothies too. All right, what else do we got in here? We've got collard greens. Yes. So this is the first time we've got collard greens in the CSA, and I'm pretty jazzed. So collard greens are an excellent source of vitamin A, vitamin C, also a great source of calcium and iron. And I know kale has this halo around it as being the ultimate nutritious leafy green, but collard greens are actually really nutritious too. In fact, they have 2 times the amount of calcium and 2 times the amount of iron than kale does. So get yourself some collard greens. And in terms of what you can do with them in the kitchen, they're great sauteed, just as you would saute any other leafy green. I love collard greens with some pine nuts, some raisins, and red pepper flakes. You can braise them. The other thing that I love doing is making collard green wraps. because you have these beautiful, sturdy, large leaves, you can stuff them with whatever filling you want, whatever protein you want, tofu, tuna salad, hummus, and then your other toppings, maybe some feta or some other veggies. And then you cut off the stem and you literally just roll the collard green up into a wrap, and then you have a delicious sandwich with 2 times the veggies. Can't beat that. You can also make collard green chips. You know, I'm sure you've heard of kale chips before, but you can do the same thing with collard greens. Works the same way. Next up, we've got an eggplant. This is also the first time we've seen eggplant in our CSA this season. So eggplant is a great source of antioxidants. It's a great source of fiber, vitamin C, potassium, and manganese. If you're preparing eggplant, you want to keep the skin on to make sure that you're getting all of those antioxidants and fiber, which is actually contained in the skin. Eggplant, you can do a lot with eggplant in the kitchen. You can make eggplant parm, which is everyone's favorite comfort food. At least it is my favorite comfort food. It's great on the grill in the summertime. There's nothing better than just simple grilled eggplant brushed with olive oil, salt, and pepper. Delicious. You could puree it and make it into a dip. You could throw it on top of pizza. You could throw it into pastas to give the pasta a little bit of a meaty texture. You could do eggplant parm and bacon instead of frying it for a healthier alternative. And one of my favorite recipes is an eggplant parm spaghetti squash bowl that I made that uses spaghetti squash as an alternative to spaghetti. Next up, we've got a bell pepper, which is the tiniest, cutest bell pepper in the whole wide world. Look at this little thing. It's so little. I have a thing for cute mini vegetables, sorry. Bell peppers are awesome. They're a great source of antioxidants, vitamins A, C, and E, folate, and potassium. They're a great source of potassium. So what I love doing with bell peppers when they're a little bit larger than this is stuffing them. So recently I made a Mexican stuffed pepper with tilapia. You could use tofu or just black beans if you don't eat seafood, or if you eat meat, you could do ground turkey. But I just stuffed them with some black beans, some tomatoes, spices like cumin and chili powder and cayenne pepper, and then did some Mexican cheeses, some pepper jack, some cojita cheese, and some sour cream. And they turned out really, really delicious. But you could also use bell peppers in salad, just chop them up and add them to a salad, or you could chop them up and add them to, they work really well in stir fries. Right, next up we've got celery. So I don't know if you've ever seen these leaves on celery before. I mean, you don't really see these at the grocery store. But you can use the leaves. They're edible. You can use them as a garnish on soups or stir fries, or you can actually make pesto out of them. Instead of using basil, you can make celery leaf pesto. And as far as the celery stalk goes, it's an aromatic, so it works great in soups or stews. You can also use it to add to stir fries or to add to tuna salad or chickpea salad to give it a little bit of extra crunch. And celery is a great source of vitamin C, vitamin A, and it's low calorie and packed with lots of water. Next up, we've got tomatoes. We've got 101 tomatoes. That's what happens this time of year at the end of summer. Tomatoes are amazing. They're packed with so many different types of antioxidants. You've got beta-carotene, you've got lycopene, you've got lutein, and we know that antioxidants help prevent chronic diseases like heart disease and cancer. And in fact, they've done studies specifically on tomatoes that show a correlation to reduction in risk of cancer. Tomatoes are also a great source of potassium and a great source of vitamin A, C, and E. So how to use tomatoes in the kitchen? Really, the opportunities are endless. You can make tomato sauce and you can freeze it to have for the fall and winter when tomatoes aren't in season. You can roast tomatoes. You can can them. You can make a simple tomato salad, which is one of my favorite things to make this time of year. I just chop up tomatoes, add a little bit of garlic, a little bit of basil, some fresh olive oil, balsamic vinegar, salt and pepper, and it's just so refreshing and delicious. And you could do tomato mozzarella salad with basil and, again, balsamic and olive oil, and maybe top it off with a little pesto. And last but not least, we have garlic. So garlic's actually a lot healthier than you may think. You see, garlic belongs to the allium family, which also includes onions and shallots. And the allium family, they contain a compound, a sulfur-containing compound called allicin. And allicin is released when you chop up and smash garlic. And allicin has a lot of health-promoting qualities. It's anti-inflammatory. They've looked at studies using allicin with lowering blood pressure, lowering cholesterol and triglycerides. They've looked at it with immune enhancing benefits as well. So garlic is really healthy. It's a great flavor enhancer to use in your cooking. You can really use garlic in any dish to give it extra flavor. You can saute it with your leafy greens or with your tomatoes. You can pretty much use garlic with all of the vegetables that you see here. You could just roast it. I actually will just take a whole head of garlic and roast it in the oven, and then I'll use the roasted garlic with some olive oil as a base for my homemade pizzas instead of red sauce. And I have been known, truth be told, to actually just eat the roasted garlic right out of its cloves. It's just so freaking delicious. I love it, and it's so good for you. Well, that's all we've got for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you found it helpful. For all the recipes that you saw here today, head on over to my blog and check them out. And I'll catch you next time on What's in My CSA Box.